I'm sorry for taking so long with this, but get ready to screenshot because I have made you the ultimate UCAT revision timetable. I am a UCAT tutor of over 3 years and a medical student, and here's what I have found has worked for most of my students, but do remember that this is just a guide and the way your practice is set up may look completely different. There are some major points I discuss when I go through my timetable, and it's important to remember that I find progress with a UCAT is more exponential than linear. What I mean by that is with every other exam that we're used to taking, the longer we spend practicing, the better our scores get in a pretty consistent fashion. Maybe I need to put in like a diagram here to explain what I'm talking about, but because the UCAT test skills that we're not typically taught in school, and then it asks you to apply those skills under time pressure, so getting used to the question format can take time. Please be patient with yourself. There were literally times when I was around 3 weeks until my actual UCAT exam and I was still getting zeros on question sets and I felt so demotivated. And then in those same sections, I ended up scoring really well in the actual exam and I ended up getting the top 6% with a band 1 SJT. So I'm telling you now, it is possible with consistent revision and structuring your revision. So here is an example of how you can do that. I usually recommend around 7 to 8 weeks of prep. This is because it's nice to keep a couple of weeks at the beginning for untimed practice so you can get used to the question format. And I recommend starting with around 100 questions a day spread equally across the 5 sections. And let me make it clear, those scores in white are not a guide, they are just examples. So don't think that you're not on track if you are not achieving those scores, but at the same time, don't think that you're going to exceed if you are achieving those scores, because practice looks different for everybody. Then at 6 weeks, I'd move on to timed practice and you can also increase your questions. And then at the 4 week mark, you can increase this to 200 questions because we want to make sure that you do not burn out, since the UCAT is focused on short, intense bursts of revision rather than little and often. Now, depending on how many mocks are available to you, you want to aim to get a mock done a day around 3.5 weeks before your exam. Then take a break and you can do some top-up questions depending on which areas you got wrong. And make sure not to just focus on the sections, but also the question types within the sections. And around a week before your exam, it would be good if you're scoring comfortably above the 700 mark with a band 1 in SJT. Use this email to get in contact about UCAT tuition, but my availability is now only after August 25th. I hope this helps and best of luck for your practice.